Alright, Mr. Heiser here, folks, with teaching you how to do drawing files. Drawing files are the types of files that we use in Autodesk Inventor to either print off and display our work or present our work, also embed them into presentations and things of that nature to showcase our hard works and talents and skills. So let's get started. I'm going to go back over into BB9, and there is a video in here that says inserting your drawing file template to your H drive. If you have not done that yet, that's the first thing you need to do before you do anything else. And I'm just going to open up the template. And it's going to take a minute or so here to load. Alright, so this is what your drawing file template should look like. The first thing you should always do with your drawing file template is click this plus sign over here, and where you see field text, right click and select edit field text. And from here you can simply fill out the values. Under level, where you would put first, second, or third. When you get done, simply hit OK. You'll notice that down below it fills out your template with your information. Okay, so you have 5 orthographic projections and a parts list to do for your final submission of this project. The orthographic projections are a drawing that shows you the front, top, right side, and isometric view of a particular object or shape. The first ones we're going to do are the actual pegs. So I'm going to select base, and I'm going to click on this folder here, and I'm going to find my peg here. I'll select, grab the triangle peg here. And we're going to leave the scale for the triangle peg at 1:1. And I'm going to simply grab this and move this to the lower left area. Now, sometimes, depending on what yours looks like, you may have the wrong view. To do that, to change your view, you can either rotate it this way with the view cube, or if you really need to change it, you can click this little arrow here and select custom view orientation. And it will take you to a menu where you can actually rotate it however you want. Okay. Well, mine is fine. Scale's 1:1. I'm going to leave this as is and hit OK. And there's my front view of my triangle peg. Okay. Now to place in my other views, I'm going to select projected. Click on the shape I want to project. And just simply move my mouse up to make my top view, over to make my side view, and try to center it between here and between here somewhere to make your ISO view, and right click create. And there it automatically creates your orthographic projection for you. Pretty nice. Okay, so a couple other finishing touches on this. I'm going to right click on my ISO view and my ISO view only and select edit view, and I'm going to click shaded to color it in. Okay, and I'm going to come up here to my ribbon tabs and select annotate, and I'm going to dimension this. And people always ask, well, how do I dimension this? You should dimension it as if a perfect stranger could pick this up and recreate it. So I'm going to put these dimensions in here. And then the last thing to do is simply label, and we always label below and in all caps. And then we always want to try to center these the best we can. And that's all you have to do for your triangle peg. Pretty easy. So when you get done with this, you simply do a save as to your H drive. And I'm going to go triangle peg drawing. And hit save. Alright? Pretty easy. Now if I wanted to wipe this, okay, I can start to do my next peg. Hit base, magnifying glass in the folder, and find my circle peg. Scale 1 to 1. I should see this view. Hit OK. I can project it. Create my views. And it's the same procedure. I'm going to edit the view and shade just the isometric. I'm going to dimension this. And then I'm going to label this. And there's a couple rules to dimensioning you always want to note. One is that you never ever put dimensions inside of the shape. Okay. You never ever dimension the same thing twice. What I mean by that is this. I have a length of 3. Well, if I come up here and dimension this line right here to 3, that's the same dimension. And it's just making the drawing way too busy and cluttering it up more than it needs to be. Okay, so only dimension things once. Your front view should always be the view of your shape that shows the most features or detail. Okay, so if I'm doing the circle peg, I can't tell this is a circle from the side or from the top, but I can from the front, and so that's why that's my front view. Alright, so again, when you finish, save as. I'm going to change this to my circle peg. And I'm just going to wipe this and do my square peg now. And again, move it and project it. And create it. And remember to edit your view to shade it. You notice it just becomes a process after a while. You just kind of keep doing the same thing, just in a different light. Alright, so I'm going to dimension my square. And I'm actually going to delete this one. Because our rule of dimensioning is you want to try to spread your dimensions out across all 3 views if possible. So I have a dimension on each view. Alright. And again, try to center them. And some may ask, well, you didn't dimension the ISO view, or you didn't label the isometric view. You never do that on these drawings. You never label, you never dimension your isometric view. Alright, so I'm going to do a save as, and save this as square peg. And there you have 3 of your 6 drawings done already. Pretty nice. Alright, so the fourth one is going to be your pegboard without the pieces added to it. So I'm going to find my pegboard part file and open that up. And here I need to rotate it so that this is my front view. And this is going to be a scale of 1 to 2, because if it's 1 to 1, we're not going to fit everything on here. So I'm going to place this in here and project it. And create it. Alright, now you'll notice there's some dashed lines on here. And if you've had me for Intro to Tech before, you'll know that these are hidden lines. Lines that represent shapes that you cannot see from that particular view. So these are lines that you know are there, but you cannot see them. You do not dimension hidden lines ever. That's another rule of dimensioning. Alright, so let's get to it. I'm going to shade our ISO view. And we're going to dimension. So I'm going to put a width here. And I'm going to do our height here. And I'll even do my depth up in one of these two. Alright. And so now I got to dimension the actual shapes. And again, you want to dimension this so that a perfect stranger could pick this up. Now the other thing too you want to do, that you'll notice here, is that I'm lining my dimensions up so that they're even with each other the best that I can. Alright. And pay close attention to details. Okay. Alright, and so I'm adding my dimensions in here. And I'm going to dimension from here to here. And even Mr. P loves a good dimensioning session.
Woohoo!
Alright. I'll even go from the top of the triangle. And lastly, from here to here. And sometimes these just get way too cluttered. But that's just because you have a shape that has a lot of details. Alright, so there's all my dimensions. The last couple things I need to do is, because I do have a hole in here, I need to mark my center points. So I'm going to use the center point tool here to mark the front of the hole. And I'm going to use the center line bisector here to mark the center lines up top. So I'm going to click this line. Actually, I might have to zoom in here. I'm going to select this line, and there's my center line that shows up. And then I'll do the same thing down here. And there's my center line there that shows up. Okay. So now I'll center it. And that is all my dimensioning. And so now I'll go to my text. And now I'll center my views. And that is how you create your drawing file for your pegboard. Don't forget to do your save as. And that's it. So now we have the hardest one to do, which is the mallet. And it's the assembled mallet. So let's delete these.